Hello, hello. I forgot to take off the. Ooh, where is that coming from? I have. There we go. I realized what my issue was. I had my OBS settings incorrect there. I could hear myself, and it threw me off and scared me. But I still have my images up. I need to remember that I should clear these. Although these can be quite handy when we're reading about things. So I think it's okay to leave for the moment. I think it's all right. But I hope everyone's been having a decent week. I haven't gotten many streams done this week, but I've been very busy, very very busy. Outside of streams, and then also kind of practicing and preparing a couple of stuff for my live 2D debut coming up this Saturday. Ideally this Saturday, assuming nothing goes wrong, which I don't think it should. Hopefully not. But yeah, I have some. I spent a little bit of time on a couple of little things. Hello, Haru. Hello. I just got a notification for an email, and it reads, "Susam Mark, go drown." Hang on, let me allow you. Tell me to go drown. I'll go drown. Drown check. Thank you. But so. Graphic Designing Services. Dear Rua Ua Quilta, I hope this message finds you well. My name is Square Bracket Charlotte, Square Bracket, and I am a graphic designer with 6 years, no space between 6 years, of experience in creating visually compelling designs for various projects. And then it's just a bunch of waffle about a scam artist trying to get me to buy like their shittily produced designs. That's probably all through AI. That's very fun. Auto mod, you're gonna jump him one of these days. You should wait outside his house with a baseball bat, kneecap him, and then dump a bunch of water on him and tell him to go drown. That's a good idea. Maybe you can figure out his watering hole, his local pub, and catch him when he's drunk. Dumb auto mod. But yeah, I saw it came in. And I was like, okay, it's some like basic AI or some scam thing. You're just gonna throw auto mod into the ocean. That's a pretty good idea. That's a drown check right there. I hope he can breathe, or he's a good swimmer. Breathe underwater, I should say. But yeah, I've been doing a little bit of work on. Just preparing for the debut. I don't have any like special. I should look into getting like some cool special backgrounds maybe, or I can just rock with what I've always had. You know, some things change, but other things stay the same. But I have been working on a little bit of lore, a little bit of a lore introduction, a little bit of a lore PowerPoint. I hope it's gonna be cool. I'm thinking of either winging it on the day and attempting to say it through. You still remember when I was just a little sketchy boy? Yeah, that was still so great. That sketch is definitely one of my favorites, and that was just something that my friend did. It's like, hey, so is this kind of your idea of a thing? And he was like, yeah. I was like, yeah. And then I remember waking up one day and being like, I really want to stream. And I was like, I'm just going to use this thing. I'm just going to use this little sketchy boy. Where is he? Where's that little sketch? Where's that little sketchy guy? Hang on, let me pull him up. There he is. This isn't the actual thing. It's just an old profile, but he's very cute. I do love it. I remember though, like I went around and I got rid of this background. This was one I didn't even understand. It took me like 10 minutes to remove a background. And there was all of these like stringy lines and like pieces of the background that weren't removed. I remember my friend sent me on my new colorful model, and he was literally like, I just couldn't stand watching this. I needed it to be actually good. I think like for me this was perfect because it was just like I can use this. It's perfect. It's just an image. It's just a gray image. And he was like, no. Have this. And then he gave me me. And then he gave me me. And now we're all happy. And now I'm going to, in a couple of days, I will ascend to live 2D hood. And I'm really looking forward to it. It's gonna be really nice. Trust me, guys. It's really nice looking. It is really, really nice looking. That's all I can say about it. I remember feeling I was almost like, oh no, I don't know if this is gonna turn out okay, because I was almost getting like buyer's remorse or something, or it's like I was worried that like people wouldn't like it, but I liked it, so I was still like, you know what, that's okay, that's still the main thing. But now that I see it in its finished form, I'm like, oh, my mama and papa did pretty well on this. But yeah, I'm really looking forward for you guys to see Ruadh. I'm gonna be speaking a little bit of Irish in my lore introduction. So I hope you guys are ready for that. That's gonna be. I wonder what you guys will think about hearing Irish pronounced. Like you always hear go raibh míle maith and slán go fóill, but how do you guys feel about like a whole reading in Irish? Don't worry. There'll be subs. We're not a Dove channel. We make sure we make sure to give you guys subs. Someone just, I'm like reading Irish and then I overlay my own voice doing the sub. Like it's not even like they cut out the Irish vocals. They just overlay it on. They just overlay the English sub. That'd be so dumb. But yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun. Other than that, I've just been busy. I'm not gonna lie. I'm quite tired. The past couple of days have been very, very busy. Just coming to the end of something, kind of this big project, and it's just constant work. Same on God. I know for some places this can be quite the busy period because it's kind of like, for some places it's like taxes and stuff. For others it's probably just like, you know, coming to the end of the month. It's always busy. Classes kill your brain. No brain, head empty. Yeah, I know that feeling. Sometimes I came back from college classes, just like I would just lie down in my bed and I would stare at the roof or stare at the tree canopy. We gotta keep this lore. We gotta keep this immersion going. Stare at the tree canopy and just stare. I wouldn't do anything. I would just allow my entire being to not do anything. Dangerously close to not being. Even on the way home, you just zone out. Yeah, I find that happens once or twice. Once I actually missed my stop, and a few times I almost missed it because I was kind of like that. I was kind of just like zoning out, and then I suddenly like go, oh shit, I'm getting off here, and I would jump up. I probably would scare some people. The time I missed it though, I had a nice little walk. I had a nice little long walk, which kind of weirdly energized me. I think it got me out of that. It got me moving, and I was like, it kind of got the blood pumping, you know. So I was feeling a little bit better that way. Long walks are nice. They are really nice. I've been doing a lot of walking, a good bit of running, and you know, keeping up with the gym as best I can. But I do find when you know, life gets busy and work, it can be difficult to organize things, to keep on top of that, especially if the weather is cool. It was not cool today, I must say, Haru. I got wet. I got soaked today. I had an umbrella, but So, sometimes an umbrella just doesn't work. The rain decides it's going to come in from the side and just destroy you. I came in and like my for some reason, I don't know if it was just the way the water was falling from the umbrella or something, but all of like the front part of my like thighs of my pants were soaked. Were absolutely soaked. It was like from the bottom of my knee up to like just underneath the hips. And I was like, how did this happen? I didn't like did I like scrape up against something? I don't know, because I think it was just got me wet rain, just not my bag. Oh, get you wet, just not your bag. I'm the same. I'm like, please. Like I've had a few times when that's happened, and like your books get all wet and your copies and stuff, and it's like, oh no, please don't. You have to put them into the boiler or something. Oh my god, that brought me back to being a young little Ruadh. A young little Ruadh having so many books in his bag, having to carry them everywhere, up to school. Literally, that bag probably weighed more than me. I'd be walking up hills. I feel like that kept me fit a lot, because I would always I'd walk back and to from school. And I just had this big heavy bag on my back. I was basically rucking, now that I think about it. Rucking is basically putting weight into a bag, and it's walking fast with weight. In the army it goes up way heavier, but now that I think about it, I was basically just carrying a heavy load in my back. Probably not very good for me, to be honest. Having that weight pull you down. Sometimes like I've seen before young kids, like young teenagers who are coming into like secondary school and stuff, or high school, I don't know what you guys might call it, and they get roller bags, like roller suitcases, and it's actually so smart because it's way better for your back and it's way easier to carry around, but it just looks so dumb. It looks very nerdy, I have to say. Not even nerdy, it just looks silly. It doesn't look right when everyone else has a backpack, you know? The character designs. But at the same time, you then don't get scoliosis from carrying around 20 kg on your back for 5 days a week at like 14 years of age. Silly bags. When I realized that no, you know what else I love seeing? You know those kids that like you often see it with the kids who have just gone into secondary school, who are like 13 years of age, or even 14, 15, but they're quite short, they're quite small, and they're carrying a bag that is like 3 times the width of them. That's so, and it's like I'd almost like, sometimes I'm almost walking past them and I'm like walking the same direction. I'm like, do you want me to carry that for you? It looks like you're going to collapse. It looks like you were going to fall on your back and be like a turtle and be unable to get yourself up. Like if a stiff breeze blew, you would fall over and would never get up without help. They're dual purpose. They can be used as chairs. That's not a bad idea, actually. That's a pretty good idea. That's one of the best things about when you're going on holidays, and you're just carrying around a big chair, so you can put it down, you just put it up against the wall, and you just can take a load off whenever. But welcome in, Flansden. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're having a nice little week. I know I started a little bit late. I'm going to be able to stream a little bit later than usual today as well. I'm not going anywhere tomorrow. I'm still doing stuff, but I have decided I am staying in. I am eepy and very tired. Man, I'm almost kind of glad, that whole like virus. What's it called again? Like COVID or something? I don't know what it was called. But I'm almost kind of glad that came in when it did, because it's opened up the whole chance of working from home for a lot of jobs. COVID. It's opened up a. You wish you could stay in? Oh, no. I know some people who don't get that option. Usually it's like, the physical labor jobs, which does suck. I'm lucky that I do have those days, but I've heard some places, some places where some of my friends have worked, they say like, they're in the office, or they would have been in the office 5 days a week, sometimes on Saturday, staying in until like 7, 8, 9 p.m. even, and then in like super busy times, like even later. And I kind of think back and I'm like, that's just I just wouldn't do that. I don't do that anyway. I kind of make a point to not stay past a certain time. I've never, unless there's some event on, I never stay past a particular time, because I always say, I want to get home, I want to go have food, I want to go have dinner. If you don't like that, like I can continue working at home, that's fine. But like, I need my break away from stuff. I need a break. I need to go to the gym. I gotta go lift weights. I gotta be a big, strong boy. But I don't know what it was last time I was in the gym. I was doing pull-ups and I was flying up. Like I'm decently good at pull-ups. I'm not like some big calisthenic guy who can like lift myself up with one hand and stand in the air, like do a handstand with one finger. But I'm decently buff, I suppose. Don't you guys see under this tunic? Look at my like. You know what? You guys will see it. You'll see a little bit of it. You guys will see a little bit of it in the live 2D. Trust me. You can see the thighs. Yeah, exactly. Leg day is very important. Don't skip your leg days. They're kind of thin. Don't skip your leg days. Everyone likes big legs, strong legs. Everyone likes a big butt, and I also, I like big butts, and I cannot lie. You other brothers cannot deny. When a girl walks in with an itty bitty waist and a round thing in your face, you do indeed get sprung. Get sprung. Oh, what's the next line? What's the next line? Pull up in the jeans she's wearing. I'm hooked and I can't stop staring. Oh, baby, I want to get with you and take your picture. My homeboys tried to warn me, but that butt you got made me so... Thick legs. Well, yeah, I played sports, and I played rugby for a while, so I do genuinely have quite big legs. But I will bonk you guys if you suggest anything. Bonk. I'll bump the top of your head. I need to get a bonk emote. You've seen rugby clips. You're like, I was an outside flanker, so I was a guy on the outside of the ruck, or I was a guy on the outside of. You guys won't understand this at all. The outside of the scrum, second row. I had most of the pitch to my side, and I would break, and I would the recoil on those boing. I would be the guy who's tackling everyone, and I'd be hitting all the rooks. So a rook is when someone gets tackled and they're carrying the ball and they go down to the ground, and the two teams kind of shove each other over the ball. It's not that set thing where they put the ball in and they're shoving each other back and forth. That's scrum. A rook is something in play. Player goes down and they're both fighting over the ball. I'd be hitting that constantly, and then I'd be tackling if I wasn't. If we didn't have possession, I'd be tackling. I was as I was described, I was not a war horse. I was a workhorse, because it was not uncommon for me to step away, because I would step away and I would throw up out of view of the referees, and then I would go back in, because I would work myself to exhaustion on that pitch. Eventually, I got good enough that I wasn't exhausted. I could play pretty strongly for a long time. But there was still sometimes when I would push myself to that limit. I was also a very good tackler, actually, until I got concussed. That kind of sucked. But then I just got a helmet and I just went back to tackling people. It's fine. He has thick legs because he played rugby. Played rugby, did a lot of squats. I've done hurling. I did a little bit of hurling. I didn't really play hurling that much. Although I definitely keep a hurling sliotar around to puck around every now and again. It's good for when you have a dog and you want to just like get them to chase around things. That kind of stuff. Yeah. I'm gonna be honest. Getting a knee into the head is never nice. Never mind when someone is sprinting full pace down a pitch. That hurt. I remember going down and they're checking for concussions. They're asking you things about what's happening. So I remember I went down. I was pulled up by my teammate, and then my coach was like, "No, you lie back down." And then he was asking me things. He was like, "What's your name? Where are you from? How old are you?" I was saying I'm Ruadh. I'm 1800 years old. All that type of stuff. I'm from Ireland. I'm from the Sheed Mounds. And one of the things he asked me was, what team are we playing? I remember I looked at him and I was like, even if I was concussed, I couldn't tell you, because I would never know. I'd never know who we're playing. I would walk on, I would see I only knew like one or two teams by name, and I knew them by their colours. Everyone else was just, these guys are our opponents. Tackle them. And I was like, okay. I don't need to know that they're from I don't know, where's my pointer? I don't need to know that they're from the Gaelinga or Keneal Moen or the Kinacta. All I know is they're our opponents, and I must hit them very hard at the waistline, not on anything, not like at too high, because that's not good. But yeah, that was a very fun sport, I have to say. Very enjoyable. Although I knew nothing going in, I learned everything on the pitch. I made some very rookie mistakes, but other than that, it was a very, very fun time. But I think I want to get into the reading, because it's only a short reading. Today it's only going to be 20 pages. We're just going to finish off that chapter that we started last stream. Maybe someday I can talk a little bit more about rugby. I will say there is not much of a nicer feeling than walking in caked in mud and dirt on a wet, rainy night, like in a just disgusting pitch, and then going in for a shower, in for a lovely toasty warm shower. Oh, it was the best. It was the best thing ever. Man, I haven't been that like covered in dirt for a while now. How can I justify doing that again? I don't know. I'll just have to go like hiking or something, and like find a mud puddle and just jump into it and be like, brings back my memories. And then all the other people will be like, that guy's insane. Don't go near him. But I think I'm going to get to our book reading. So we're going back to Medieval Ireland by Claire Downham, and we're kind of getting into the second half of the religion of 1100 to 1500. Slip on a mud puddle. Yeah, I'm gonna slip on a mud puddle and jump in, and like I'll be like a pig. I'll just roll around in the mud for a little bit. But I'm not even joking. You'd be walking off those pitches and you would have like like just a layer of mud all over you. Everyone would, and sometimes there'd be blood mixed in. So that was the fun part of it. But I feel like it boosted your immune system, being in all that type of stuff. Like, oh no, blood and dirt. Oh no, like no, I have a very strong immune system. Trust me. All because I was exposed to that. What am I talking about? What am I actually going on about? Why am I being like, I have a very strong immune system, guys? Who am I trying to impress? No one, not even you guys. Who would be impressed with that? I think that's the type of thing that if someone said that to you, if someone said that to you, you would kind of be like, "What a weirdo! Why are we talking to this guy? We should exclude him from any and all activities in our friend groups." This is why these streams are good, because they allow me to realize the ridiculous things that I say to myself, and they better my social interaction. It allows me to get my silly stuff out, my silly side. But anyway, imagine saying that in a hospital. you're like going in because you're sick. You're going in because you're sick, but like it'd be like Donald Trump. You go in, you're obviously sick. You're obviously unwell, sir. This is the ASMR channel. No, this is my boasting channel. Flansden, don't you understand? This is my boasting channel. You go into the hospital. You're like, I have the best immune system. The best. You know, I walk into a hospital and they're like, wow, this guy has a great immune system. The absolute best. I haven't seen an immune system this good before. The way this guy's white blood cells. Did you know the white blood cells? They tested. Let me get into my fucking book. Let me get into my book. Political streamer. We're getting into politics. No. Politics is a dangerous part. There's a sick person just staring at me. I will stare at him, and he can bask in my healthiness. I will show dominance over him. That's really fucked up. Treat sick people well. Don't be mean to them. We're not going to get into politics, though. That's one of those topics you don't touch on stream. Maybe you do, but no. Instead, we're going to go to religion, and we're going to get back into medieval Ireland. Religion, secular clergy, is the title. Secular clergy, 1180 to 1400 AD. So now we're going to go into the actual ASMR category. Hopefully, the reading is nice and cozy. And you guys enjoy, whether you're listening for the actual historical content or just to have my voice as a background noise to enjoy. Within the secular church, tensions quickly emerged between the Irish and English factions. These divisions have led to a debate whether the church in later medieval Ireland was an agent of division or reconciliation. There has been a danger of imposing contemporary perspectives onto medieval materials. The surviving sources shed insights on moments when ethnic... Oh, excuse me a moment. Apologies, I had to check something very quickly. There we go. The surviving sources shed insights on moments when ethnic tensions have added fuel to the fire of ideological and political conflict. So the contemporary perspectives that she's talking about is that later on, which is the whole Northern Ireland thing, the identities of Catholicism and Protestantism sort of become ethnic identifiers. The Irish are Catholics, the Republicans, the people who want Ireland to be controlled by all the Irish. The Protestant religion then becomes sort of the identifier of the Unionists in the North, those who want to stay with the Union. And of course, Protestantism becomes this because of Henry VIII. Protestantism is the main religion of England, the Church of England, etc., etc. The papacy strove to promote peace between Christians who obeyed its commands, regardless of nation, while advocating political obedience to the kings of England. Ethnic tensions are said to have arisen during the Dublin Diocesan Synod of 1186. The decrees of the council have survived, as have two accounts written by Gerald of Wales, who participated in the event. According to Gerald, Alba Uamail Muid, abbot of Baltinglass, and later Bishop of Ferns, who was favoured by John, Lord of Ireland, preached a sermon that condemned the lack of chastity among English, Welsh, and Welsh priests who had settled in Ireland. This was backed up in the conciliar legislation issued by the English Archbishop John Cumin, which praised the chastity of the Irish cleric and condemned the foul contagion of strangers, and forbidding all clergy from keeping concubines. Gerald, a man given to strong prejudices, followed Ailbe's sermon with his own condemnation of the Irish clergy for their drunkenness and neglect of pastoral care, which caused the laity to wallow in vice. Irish saints, he argued, were not people willing to die for their faith, for they had been few martyrs in Ireland. Gerald reported that the sermon was approved by his countrymen. He also recorded the response of the Irish Archbishop of Cashel, who pointed out that Ireland lacked martyrs since the people were not wont to show force to their churchmen. Quote, "But now a people has come to our country who know how to make martyrs." Gerald may have recorded a retort, both a clever response and a dig against King Henry II regarding the English martyr Thomas Becket, who was killed allegedly on his orders. The Council of 1186 illustrates how ill feeling could be stirred up by sermons that highlighted the moral shortcomings of one people compared to another. Fiery characters like Gerald of Wales or Alba Umail Muid were not inclined to promote harmony. Alba Umail Muid would later excommunicate William I Marshal for seizing land of the church from his diocese in Ferns. William's action sparked another controversy. In 1216, John had given Alba, Bishop of Ferns, control of the temporalities of the diocese of Killaloe, County Clare, as his favourite candidate for the vacant see. However, the king died soon after, and William Marshal was appointed as regent of England for the 9-year-old King Henry III. Marshal was determined that Alba would not succeed to the diocese. In 1217, a veto against the promotion of Irishmen to Irish sees, so that the bishop is, I don't know what the bishop of a diocese is what I was talking about. Position, I suppose. Was promulgated under the name of William Marshal for the juvenile king. A complaint was sent to Pope Honorius III, who responded with letters condemning the exclusion of Irishmen from benefices as well as their inequality in law. The English lords who had a vested interest in Ireland were perhaps most inclined to discriminate against the Gaelic Irish in ecclesiastical matters, because if they have a whole other people that make up the vast majority of the country, and they're able to say, well, we're actually, by decree of the king, not supposed to give you any ecclesiastical powers, well, we must obviously just give them to ourselves, and often they would be given to second sons or third sons who could, have a lot of control. The years after 1180 were characterized by the Anglicanization of the episcopate in Ireland. The spread of English settlement was reflected in the selection of prelates. In 1181, Lorcan Uathul, or Lawrence O'Toole, Archbishop of Dublin, died, and he was replaced by an English royal nominee, John Cumin. Meath had an English prelate from 1192 and Waterford by 1195, followed by Down, Leyland and Ossory, which came into English hands around 1202. Lismore and Limerick received English bishops from 1215 to 16. By 1216, the diocese of Glendalough, an area largely under Gaelic control, was united with Dublin. William Marshall's attempt to instill an English bishop of Killaloe in 1217 ultimately failed, although the dispute continued on after his death. Ferns and Kildare had English bishops by 1223. The number of English bishops in Ireland had peaked by the mid-14th century. Most of the bishoprics in the west of Ireland remained in Gaelic hands. Others switched between prelates or different backgrounds. Sometimes friction can be observed between candidates from different cultures. Armagh was the most powerful archdiocese in Ireland, and it became the locus of a struggle for power. In 1201, on the death of Archbishop Tomultoch Uachruthur, two rival elections were held. King John sought to buy off the Irish candidate Ecdon, aka Eugenius Mac Giel Uder, with a pension of 20 marks a year and the promise of another bishopric. But Ecdon took his case to Rome, where his election was upheld. Eventually Ecdon was reconciled with King John. The conflict in Armagh indicated that the English of the diocese were unwilling to accept a Gaelic archbishop, although it was not until the mid-14th century that Gaelic archbishops ceased to be appointed to Armagh. The diocese was divided for linguistic and political reasons. The archbishop was usually based in County Louth, assisted by an Anglo-Irish archdeacon, while the dean of Armagh, who was usually Gaelic-Irish, resided in Armagh. This arrangement continued into the 16th century. Many sees in the later Middle Ages alternated between Irish and English prelates. It may be too simple to see rivalries over ecclesiastical powers in national terms. Often rival claimants for episcopal office possessed a common ethnic identity, but where one representing local interests might be in contention with a prelate who lacked a local power base. The church was powerful because of its physical resources, but the preaching of religious leaders could also wield more power over the laity than the mandates of political leaders. The anxieties wrought by the decline of English lordship at the end of the 13th century was expressed through suppression of Gaelic churchmen, both within English-held areas and outside them. In 1324, Edward II asked the Pope to support a programme that could help boost English royal authority in Ireland. The plans were intended to ensure that all clergy preached loyalty to the English crown, that reluctance to accept English novices into Gaelic religious houses should be condemned, and that dioceses with an annual income of less than £60 should be united with a larger diocese. The last suggestion would have removed many cathedrals from Gaelic areas and placed more powers into the hands of bishops, whose sees were located in Anglo-Irish towns. Shortly after Edward's petition, the papacy united the dioceses of Cloyne and Cork, but went no further in implementing the requested diocesan changes. The demographic and political crisis faced by the English lordship in the 14th century had ramifications for the secular church. Many Anglo-Irish clerics seem to have left Ireland to work in England in the 1360s and 70s. Political conditions may have made ministry in Ireland less attractive, while the impact of the Black Death in England opened up new opportunities to obtain benefices and gain employment as chantry priests. Their departure may have increased the number of Gaelic Irish clergy ministering in English districts. The Dublin Diocesan Decrees of 1367 required that all Gaelic priests within the English lordship swear an oath of fealty to the king. In the Statutes of Kilkenny, priests were required to minister in the English language, although they were given a period of time to learn the language if they had not yet mastered it. The Statutes of Kilkenny further enjoined that in the future no, quote, Irishman of the nations of the Irish should be allowed to join any cathedral, collegiate church or religious house, or hold any benefices. This rule proved to be unworkable, and exemptions were made through granting licenses to Gaelic clergy. Nevertheless, intolerance and suspicion towards Gaelic clergy resurfaced in later legislation, while the departure of Anglo-Irish priests to England provoked further concern in the 15th century. The papal schism that shook Europe from 1378 to 1417 stirred up divisions in Ireland. In 1378, Urban VI was elected pope, but shortly after, the cardinal electors claimed that their choice had been influenced by a Roman mob. A new election was held, and Clement VII was elected. Urban II, or Urban VI, refused to stand down, and in the following months different rulers in Europe aligned themselves with one pope or the other. Richard II of England pronounced in favour of Urban VI, while the French and Scots favoured Clement VII, who based himself in Avignon. Most of Ireland supported Urban VI, but there were pockets of support for Clement VII in the archdioceses of Tuam, Armagh and Cashel, in areas under Gaelic control. The schism may have stirred up ethnic tensions as hinted at by Clement's suspension of the Anglo-Irish bishop Robert of Killala, who campaigned against him in Connacht. Some of the papal revenues collected in Ireland in the 1380s were diverted away from Urban VI to support the work of Clement VII. However, support for the Avignon papacy had fizzled out before the papal schism ended in 1417. The surviving evidence concerning the secular church in late medieval Ireland focuses on moments of friction and irregularity. This casts a rather unedifying shadow on the state of the church. It has perhaps been too easy to overplay the notion that there were two opposed nations in medieval Ireland. Undoubtedly, there were difficulties in provision of a single church hierarchy across two cultures and a fragmented political landscape. However, on a day-to-day basis, the church continued to function and practical solutions were reached to address the pastoral needs of the laity. And take a quick sip. The clerical estate in the 15th century. Although it has been conventional across Europe to portray the pre-Reformation era as one of decline, the 15th century witnessed religious enthusiasm in Ireland. This was expressed through considerable investment in church buildings across Ireland. The period also witnessed growing links with the papacy, particularly outside the English lordship. It also saw closer involvement between Gaelic Irish and Anglo-Irish communities. Interestingly enough, actually, I heard recently that apparently in Ireland, the church has seen the largest number of people go through whatever the priestly training is to become priests and churchmen. So that's interesting. Could be seeing a small revival in church numbers maybe in Ireland. Within Gaelic churches, the bonds between local families and churches were cemented by growing evidence for hereditary control of benefices and religious houses. The lack of clerical celibacy and the practice of nepotism within the Irish church would later receive much criticism. However, the argument can be made that this was a practical method of securing clerical education and pastoral care in areas where parochial incomes were low by English standards. Architecture and archaeological studies have demonstrated that a major program of church building, remodeling, and ornamentation took place across Ireland in the 15th century. The majority of Irish medieval cathedrals were modified in this period through the addition of decorated doorways and windows to suit contemporary tastes. I don't know if they're going to mention it, but there is in Cove, which is an area on the southern tip of Cork. So it's kind of near the coast of Ireland, not the southern tip of Cork, but when I say Cork, sorry, I should explain this. I'm not just talking about Cork down here. Like modern day, Cork is an entire county, pretty much this area. But on these kind of southern coasts, there's Cove, and the Cove Cathedral. I have been there once. It is an absolutely stunning cathedral, genuinely gorgeous. And the way you see it coming into Cove is beautiful as well. You're kind of driving up a hill for a lot of the kind of it's in kind of a little, at the end of in a little basin, Cove, this little village town. You come up and you start, as you're coming up over the hill, you see the spire of the cathedral. And then as you're coming up over, you see more and more of it. And then as you come up over top, you see the rest of the cathedral and you see the rest of the town. And it is genuinely a beautiful place. But I'd highly recommend if you're ever in Ireland and you're looking for a place to visit, the Cove Cathedral would definitely be a place to check out. The majority of Irish medieval cathedrals were modified. Oh, we read this. In the Pale, approximately 20 towers were added to churches to provide priestly accommodation, along with the construction and reornamentation of the majority of parish churches. These developments were not confined to prosperous Anglo-Irish areas. In County Clare, at least 34 churches were rebuilt in the 15th and 16th centuries, while in Fermanagh, the agricultural evidence of church renovation and construction is complemented by chronicle evidence. In 1480, the Annals of Ulster recorded the death of Tomás Og MacUair, Lord of Fermanagh, describing him as, quote, a man that made many churches and monasteries, and mass chalices, and once in Rome, and twice in the city of St. James on pilgrimage. The program of church rebuilding and ornamentation corresponds with the spread of the mendicant observant movement and religious fraternities among the laity. These developments show the strength of religious faith throughout Ireland and reflects displays of wealth during a time of relative economic prosperity. In England, the Parliament had sought to curtail papal involvement in the Church through the Statutes of Provisors of 1351. This limited the scope of papal appointments to clerical offices and the referral of litigation on church matters to Rome. By the 15th century, these provisions were implemented in the English lordship of Ireland, but not outside of it. An increasing number of cases in Gaelic areas were referred to Rome in the 15th century. Procurators were employed to transact business with the curia, and public notaries also exercised their office in Ireland by papal or imperial authority. An increase in the number of visitors to Rome prompted John Swain, Archbishop of Armagh, to plan a hostel there for both Anglo-Irish and Gaelic visitors in the early 15th century. The Gaelicization of the Church was reflected in some of the matters brought before the Pope. For example, during the pontificate of Boniface IX, Donald Mawley sought to displace William Wilde and John Taith from the benefices of Rathwire and Castle Ricard, on the basis of their inability to understand the language of the majority of their flock. The matter was judged in Malahi's favour. Malahi. In 1482, Sixtus IV did not uphold the complaint of the people of Waterford, who refused to accept Nicholas Uahengasa as their bishop on the grounds that he could not speak English. Hello, Clever. Welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. How you doing, Clever? I hope you're doing very, very well. I like how you capitalize Ruadh, like you're shouting it, like, hi. I know it's been a few days since I last streamed, but it's nice to see you again, Clever. I hope you're having a good old week. The Gaelicization of the Church is also apparent from other sources from the 14th century. These include the poem Land of Cockaigne, found in the British Library manuscript Harley 913. It was composed in Middle English, probably by a Franciscan author in Leinster. It is a satire on the luxurious life of Gaelic Cistercians. However, the text